Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you what we use for outer storage on the camper. On the front and on the sides we use milk crates. These things work awesome. They're super sturdy. They can take a beating. And even if they break, and I've broken one or two, they still kind of keep on working. But yeah, you know, fire extinguisher, fuel, boat fuel, my axes and a shovel. Got my table strapped on behind it there. And on the sides, overhangs a little bit, but that's never been a problem. Keep a bit of a gap between the camper and that because it will, you know, will shake back and forth. That's in that bucket there are my chains that I use in the winter, also for mud. And over here, we're going to be making this cover today. So that's actually my first kind of prototype cover. It's a little tight maybe, but I think I'm going to keep it that way. I'd rather it be a little too tight than a little too loose. Normally what I'll do when I put that on is I'll put a bungee cord just around it to keep it from blowing off. So I don't usually use the 20-pound unless we're taking the kids and we're taking a fire pit or something. Otherwise we just take the 5-pound tank. Nice thing about these crates though is that these 20-pound tanks, they're basically like, these things are a match made in heaven. They just fit perfectly in there. Alright, so I'm actually editing the video right now. And I just remembered these Aqua-Tainers, I think that's what they're called. They also fit perfectly in there. Made by Reliance. Yeah, perfect fit. So, yeah, I guess we're gonna go ahead and make this cover out of this tarp over here. So this is the template I made so I can make more of these. The center section, that's about 14 inches I made it, because those crates are 13. So that gives me a 1/2 inch on each side for the hem and for sewing. Open it up here, and then when I want to do the vertical seam, depending on which way I unfold these, lets me cut it to a different height. So I'm just going to go ahead for the full height. That's what that one is over there, and seemed to work out well. Right, so now we need to cut it out. These are the scissors I'm using. I think they're called Ginger. But these are the best scissors I've ever used for anything kind of fabric, made in Italy. I'll put a link to these in the description. So you can see that we just cut this into a addition sign here, or a cross. The centerpiece is the top. This seam and that seam will get sewn together. That one and this one, that one, that one, this one, that one. Okay, so we're starting with the whatever's your worst side, facing up. Check it for any imperfections if it's a used tarp, which this one is. I know I have one spot here that's worn through a little bit, it's a little bit thin. That's an easy fix for me. Some duct tape. That'll make it stronger than new, probably. A little piece right there. Now, the bad side, facing up, that's going to end up being the inside of the bag, basically, that we're making this cover. So we're just going to start by taking any two seams and putting them together like this. So we basically folded it in half that way. What we're going to do, at least what I did, you probably don't have to do this. Piece of duct tape right there. And then fold it across it. So we're sort of stitching this together with tape. Now, you could potentially put tape on this side as well and just leave it like that. But we're going to go ahead and sew this. Sewing through duct tape is maybe not great for one of these consumer sewing machines. So for the thread, this thread is, if I remember, it is resistant to water, and in a sense that it won't rot. So it looks like it's made by Gutermann, and it's called Mara 50. This one's Mara 70. The difference is the thickness of the thread. The 70 is a little thinner than the 50. I'll try to put a link to these in the description if I can find them, or to something similar. I've just wound a bunch onto a different spool here. So hopefully you know how to use a sewing machine. If not, this might be a challenge for you. You'll have to look up a tutorial on that. So what I've found, and again, probably not good for the machine, a little bit of water on the duct tape. This is actually a little bit soapy water. Really helps this thing glide along. Alright, so there's the stitching. Hopefully you can see it. I use like a zigzag pattern. Now what I do is up at the top of the bag, you've got a bit of overhang with the duct tape. So cut that duct tape off without cutting through the bag. Now we need to do the hem on the bottom of this. Essentially, you want to fold it as if you're rolling up the bottom of your jeans. and maybe about an inch you're going to want. Remove this piece on the bottom of the sewing machine. That allows you to put it underneath here. So that's going to start right there. So there's where it gets hard, is going over the big seam because of the duct tape. Alright, so there's the finished bag cover. It's still inside out. I went a little too fast on the seam, so I didn't really make it as even as I would have liked, but it's totally fine. So we just flip it inside out. Straighten out your seams, just like grab them and kind of force them out. They should look real nice. Now it's starting to look more like a square. And there you have it. Nice cover. See, it's a little tall for this one, but a bungee cord helps. And you can make it shorter. And you could, just hem it shorter if you want to. So just make it a little long and cut it to length later. For us though, sometimes we will have taller stuff in here, so that's perfect.